My son found the second mortgage paper on a Tuesday at exactly 4:17 p.m., standing in my kitchen beside a gray filing cabinet. Older than his marriage, he held the paper like it had teeth. "Dad," he said quietly, "why is there a second mortgage on your house?" Funny thing about greed. It doesn't kick down your front door. It asks for a spare key. That summer, I lost part of my family. I also learned that people who think you're old sometimes make very expensive mistakes. Stay with me here. Because to explain that paper, I have to take you back 2 years. If you're watching right now, tell me where you're from and what your local time is. I always like seeing how far these stories travel. And if you enjoy real family stories about loyalty, betrayal, and the moments that change everything, take a second to subscribe. Now, let me tell you how this started. 2 years before, my son Ethan stood in my kitchen holding that mortgage paper like it was a live grenade. Life was quiet, not exciting, not glamorous, just quiet. At 67 years old, I had learned quiet wasn't something to complain about. Quiet was a gift. I lived alone in the same house on Maple Grove Drive in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, that my wife Eleanor and I bought back in August of 1989. Two-story white siding, dark green shutters, slight crack in the driveway I kept meaning to fix for 15 years and never did. You know how people always say they'll fix something next weekend. Eventually, next weekend becomes retirement. Then retirement becomes, well, maybe next spring. The front porch still had the swing Eleanor picked out in 1997 after she decided our house needed more soul. My wife believed every home had a personality. Mine apparently needed help. Eleanor Woods had been gone 5 years. Pancreatic cancer. 3 words that'll empty a room inside your chest. I still kept her coffee mug in the cabinet. Blue ceramic. Tiny chip near the handle. I couldn't throw it away. Never wanted to. People think grief gets smaller. It doesn't. Life just grows around it. I drove a silver 2009 Ford Ranger with 211,000 miles on it. The passenger door made a noise every winter that sounded like a raccoon arguing with God. Mechanic told me fixing it would cost $800. I told him I'd rather learn to enjoy the noise. Every Friday morning, I'd drive down First Avenue East to Bluebird Diner around 7:30. Same booth, same order. 2 eggs over medium, wheat toast, turkey sausage, coffee black. Megan, one of the waitresses, stopped asking years ago. She'd see me walk in and say, "Morning, Roland." I'd say, "Morning." Coffee would appear. Life had rhythms, small ones, reliable ones. Wednesday afternoons meant Hy-Vee grocery runs. Friday mornings meant Bluebird. Sunday evenings meant calling both my boys. Well, trying to call both my boys. My younger son Ethan always answered. My older son Brandon answered when life slowed down enough to remember I existed. That sounds harsher than I mean it. Stay with me here. You need to understand something about Brandon. He wasn't evil, not even close. He was smart, driven, restless, the kind of person who always believed happiness existed one promotion, one investment, one business expansion away. At 41, Brandon owned a small home renovation company outside Des Moines, Woods Custom Living. He started it himself, worked hard, built something real. I respected that. His wife Ashley worked in medical administration. Good woman, practical, organized, liked expensive kitchen countertops a little too much, but good. They had no children, not for lack of trying. That hurt them. I knew it, even when they didn't say it. Ethan was different. 36, high school history teacher, 10th grade U.S. history, lived 20 minutes away in Marion, drove a Subaru Outback that permanently smelled like coffee and dry erase markers. Never cared much about money, never chased status. One time, Brandon bought a $70,000 pickup truck. Ethan bought discounted socks in bulk because they were economically responsible. 2 brothers, same parents, completely different wiring. Life does that. My closest friend wasn't family. It was Diane Parker, 66, retired librarian, lived 3 houses down, Known Eleanor since college. Sharp as broken glass. Sweet until someone deserved otherwise. Diane had this habit of showing up unannounced carrying food, like Midwest women somehow develop a supernatural ability to sense empty refrigerators. One Thursday afternoon, she knocked twice and walked in carrying chicken casserole. "You alive?" she yelled. "Depends who's asking." Smart mouth still works, that's promising. She walked into the kitchen, set the dish down, looked around. "You vacuumed." "I vacuum sometimes." "Roland Woods, if you're lying to me this late in life, at least make it believable. You come into my house insulting me while holding casserole." "You're welcome." That was Diane. She sat down, looked toward Eleanor's old chair. Neither of us said anything for a few seconds. Sometimes friendship lives inside silence. "You sleeping okay?" Diane asked. "Mostly." "Liar." "Mostly." She narrowed her eyes. I changed subjects. People who knew Eleanor always watched me a little closer after she died. Like grief might suddenly sneak up behind me in a grocery store and tackle me near frozen vegetables. Truth was, some days were harder, some weren't. Life moved. Whether you liked it or not, I kept busy. Small projects, garage cleaning, fishing once in a while, paperwork, always paperwork, old habits. See, before retirement, I spent 32 years working mortgage fraud investigations and compliance auditing for a regional bank. Exciting, no useful. Absolutely, my job was simple. People lied. I found out how. Fraud has patterns. Greed has patterns. Desperation has patterns. People think deception looks complicated. Usually it looks lazy. Bad signatures, wrong timestamps, documents people hope nobody reads. You'd be amazed what people miss when they think nobody's paying attention. Diane used to joke. Roland caught liars professionally for 30 years and somehow still married Eleanor. I'd tell her, your friend was terrifying enough to keep me honest. Truth. Eleanor could spot nonsense from orbit. One October afternoon, Ethan came by to help me move some storage bins from the basement. "Why do you still keep all this stuff?" he asked. "Because someday one of you boys will inherit it and complain." "Dad, I'm preparing memories." "You're preparing junk. Respect your elders." We carried boxes upstairs, old Christmas decorations, photo albums, tools, Eleanor's sewing supplies, life stacked inside cardboard. Ethan found an old family picture, Disney World. Brandon 12, Ethan 7, Eleanor smiling, me wearing sunglasses too small for my face. "Dad," Ethan said quietly. "Yeah? You doing okay?" Funny question, simple, dangerous. "I'm all right." "You sure is mostly?" "Same lie, different person." Ethan nodded, didn't push. Good kid. After he left, I stood in the garage longer than necessary. Cold October air, leaves blowing down Maple Grove, silver Ford Ranger sitting crooked because I'd parked badly again. Normal. Everything felt normal. And maybe that's why I missed it. The beginning, the shift, the small thing that should have bothered me sooner. Because 3 weeks later, Brandon sat across from me at my kitchen table. Coffee untouched, phone face down, smile too prepared. And for the first time in my life, my son looked at my house the same way strangers looked at money. 3 weeks later, Brandon Woods sat across from me at my kitchen table on a gray Thursday afternoon in November. Outside Cedar Rapids looked like somebody had turned the color settings down on the entire world. Clouds, wind, bare trees, Midwest November. My coffee sat untouched. His sat untouched too. That should have told me something. Brandon never left coffee sitting, especially expensive coffee. He'd walked in carrying one of those fancy drinks from a place near Interstate 380. Something with oat milk, cinnamon, a name too long for coffee. "Smells expensive," I said. It was $6. $6, Dad, for coffee. "You sound 85. "I'm 67. Same energy. You pay $6 for coffee, and I'm the problem." He smiled, but something felt rehearsed. You know that feeling when somebody isn't talking to you. They're talking toward something, working their way toward a destination. I'd spent 32 years watching people lie about money. Money changes breathing, timing, eye contact. People think deception lives in words. Most of the time, it lives between them. Brandon leaned back, looked around the kitchen. Same kitchen he'd grown up eating cereal in. Same table where Eleanor taught him fractions. Same place Ethan once spilled grape juice so badly we replaced half the flooring. Funny what survives. Funny what doesn't. House still looks good, Brandon said. House appreciates that. You ever think about updating things? Things work. The cabinets are old. I'm old. Dad. The cabinets and I are aging together. He smiled again, not fully. Ashley always said Brandon smiled with half his face when he was stressed. I noticed it too. Business good? I asked. Busy. Busy good or busy expensive? He exhaled quietly. There it was. Pressure. Material costs are ridiculous, he said. Labor too. That's construction. Yeah? He rubbed his thumb against the coffee cup. Small movement. Nervous movement. Expansion's expensive. You expanding? Thinking about it. I nodded. Let silence work. People hate silence. Silence makes people volunteer information. Old trick, useful trick. Dad, he said finally. Yeah. Can I ask you something? Depends. Serious. All right. He leaned forward. Have you ever thought about refinancing? There it was. Not dramatic. Not evil. Just there. I looked at him carefully. Refinancing what? The house. My house. Yeah. I took a sip of coffee, made him wait. Not on purpose. Mostly. What for? I asked. Interest rates. I paid this place off 11 years ago. I know. Then why refinance? Because your money should work for you. There it was again. Money language, business language, young ambition language. I leaned back. You've been watching financial podcasts. Dad. No, seriously. I'm trying to help. Help me do what? Build wealth. I almost laughed. Not because he was wrong, because Eleanor would have laughed hard. My wife believed wealth meant paying bills on time and having enough leftovers for lunch tomorrow. Brandon, I said carefully, I'm 67. Exactly. What does that mean? You've got equity sitting here doing nothing. House is doing house things. Dad, no, seriously. Roland, Brandon. He exhaled. That half smile disappeared. Look, he said, I'm just saying you could pull equity. For what? Investment. What investment? My company. There it was. Finally. Woods, custom living, expansion, money. I stayed quiet. He kept going. We've got opportunities right now. Okay. More crews. Okay. Commercial contracts. Okay. Dad? You seem frustrated because you're not taking this seriously. I am? No, you're doing that thing. What thing? The retired dad thing. I blinked. The retired dad thing. Playing dumb. Interesting. Very interesting. Pay attention to this next part. People reveal what they think about you without realizing it. Playing dumb, not asking questions, not understanding, old, safe, harmless. That was how Brandon saw me. Not maliciously, not consciously, just slowly over time. Age changes how people look at you, especially your own children. I understand equity, I said calmly. I know. You sure, Dad? No, really? I'm not stupid. I didn't say you were. You implied it. I didn't. You kind of did. I kind of didn't. Brandon? He leaned back, hands folded, trying patience. Failing patience. My point, he said slowly, is you could help both of us. Interesting wording, both, not him, both. I don't need help, I said. Financial security isn't help. I have financial security. You've got an asset. I've got a home. You've got both. I watched him. 32 years. Fraud investigations. mortgage compliance, title reviews, forgery cases, refinancing fraud, predatory lending, people trying to move money quietly, people hiding motives inside reasonable language. And Brandon, my own son, was using every conversation path I'd heard strangers use before. Not criminals, not villains, people convincing themselves. Those are the dangerous ones, the people who don't think they're wrong. You know, Brandon said carefully, Ashley and I talked about this. Ashley, interesting. Did you? She thinks it's smart. Does Ashley know mortgage underwriting, Dad? I'm asking. You don't have to make everything complicated. Complicated, another interesting word. Complicated usually means please stop asking questions. I smiled. Small, friendly, confusing. What? Brandon asked. Nothing. No, seriously. Just thinking. About what? How funny life is. Dad, you know what Eleanor used to say? He sighed. Mom. Bringing Eleanor into conversations always slowed him down. She used to say, I continued, if somebody wants your wallet, they'll usually compliment your shoes first. Dad, come on. I'm kidding. No, you're not. No. No. We sat quietly. Wind hit the windows. Kitchen clock ticking. November light getting darker. Brandon rubbed his forehead. Tired, stressed. Something bigger underneath this. I could feel it. Couldn't see it yet, but I felt it. You okay? I asked quietly. Yeah. You sure I'm fine? Lie. Small lie. But lie. Funny thing. People think experience gives you wisdom. Sometimes it just gives you pattern recognition. And something about Brandon, his timing, his pressure, his language, felt wrong. Not criminal. Not yet. Wrong. I appreciate the advice, I said, but I'm not refinancing. Think about it. I already did. Dad, no. Silence. Long silence. Then something changed. Tiny. Almost invisible. Brandon's expression. Disappointment. Frustration. Maybe anger. Quick. Controlled. Gone. But not gone enough. You know, he said quietly. What? Sometimes you make things harder than they need to be. There it was. The first crack. Not greed. Not yet. Entitlement. Subtle. Small. Dangerous. He stood. Picked up his coffee. Still mostly full. Tell Ashley I said hello, I said. Yeah. He walked toward the door. Paused. Turned slightly. You should think long term, Dad. I do. No. He smiled thin. Tight. You really don't. Then he left. Truck backing out. Taillights disappearing down Maple Grove Drive. I stood by the kitchen window, watching, thinking. 32 years catching financial lies. 5 years learning grief. 67 years learning people. And standing there watching my son's truck disappear, I realized something I didn't want to admit. For the first time in his life, Brandon Woods wasn't looking at my house like family. He was looking at it like leverage. And 3 months later, old debt would come back looking for both of us. 3 months later, February arrived in Cedar Rapids with all the warmth and kindness of a parking ticket. Gray skies, wind sharp enough to cut through denim. Dirty snow piled along sidewalks like winter itself had gotten tired and given up. I was in my garage on a Saturday morning pretending to organize tools. Men my age do that. We stand around holding a wrench for 40 minutes thinking about life. My silver Ford Ranger sat inside because temperatures dropped below 15 degrees overnight. The driver's side mirror still shook every time I hit 45 miles an hour. I kept meaning to fix it. Didn't. Story of my life. My phone buzzed. Brandon. 10:22 in the morning. Not normal. Brandon wasn't a Saturday morning caller. I answered. Morning. Hey, Dad? His voice sounded different. Too careful. You okay? I asked. Yeah. Lie. Quick one. Small one. Still a lie. You sound tired. Just busy. Business. Yeah. Wind moved outside, garage heater humming, silence. Then, Dad, you busy? I'm holding a screwdriver pretending I'm productive. No laugh. That got my attention. You need something? I asked, long pause, then, can I come by? You asking or warning me, hun, Dad? Come by. Half hour. Sure. 36 minutes later, yes, I noticed Brandon pulled into my driveway. Black Ford F-150, 3 years old. Beautiful truck. Too expensive. One lesson I learned investigating financial fraud: people under pressure often spend money trying not to look pressured. He walked in wearing jeans and a charcoal jacket, no coffee, no small talk, no comments about cabinets. Straight to the kitchen. Bad sign. You hungry? I asked. No. Worst answer possible. I'm serious. I know. He sat, hands together, looking tired, older somehow. 41 suddenly looking 50. I sat across from him, waited, silence, useful tool. Finally, we hit some problems. There it was. Not expansion, not opportunity, problems. What kind, I asked. Cash flow. Temporary, maybe, dangerous word. Supply costs went crazy. Okay. Commercial project got delayed. Okay. 2 clients backed out. I nodded. He kept going, talking faster now. Like once the truth started moving, it couldn't stop. Payroll, equipment payments, material costs, contract delays, loan pressure, stress, real stress, not fake stress, real. I listened. Important detail. I listened. Because Brandon wasn't a villain. I need you to understand something. Bad decisions don't always come from bad people. Sometimes they come from scared people. Scared people justify things. I can figure it out, Brandon said quietly. I know. I just need time. Okay. Cash is tight. I leaned back. There it was. Closer now. The thing underneath. You behind? I asked a little. How behind, Dad? How behind? 40,000. Silence. Worse. More silence. Oh no. Brandon. $72,000. I sat quietly. Not because of judgment, because math. Math matters. 72,000 wasn't temporary. 72,000 changed things. Ashley know? I asked. Mostly. Mostly means no. She knows enough. No, she doesn't. He rubbed his eyes, looked exhausted. I thought expansion would solve it. When what? When did you decide growth fixes debt? Dad, no, seriously. Business works that way. No. Yes. No. Silence again. I thought if we landed enough projects, you borrowed ahead. No. You spent ahead. No answer. Same thing. Different language. Wind hit the house. Kitchen clock ticking. Funny how normal sounds feel louder when people are struggling. You remember when your mother got sick? I asked quietly. His shoulders shifted. Eleanor. Always Eleanor. Yeah. No. Dad? No. I looked at him, really looked. Do you remember silence? I remember, he said quietly. Tell me. He didn't answer, so I did. April. Eleanor couldn't keep food down? May. Doctor visits every week. June. Insurance stopped covering things fast enough. He looked down. Good. Not because I wanted guilt, because I wanted honesty. You know what happened that summer? I asked. No answer. You called me. Silence. 3 times. I stood, walked toward the hallway, opened the old office closet. Gray filing cabinet, second drawer, folder, blue, worn edges, life inside paper. I brought it back, set it down. Brandon stared, recognition, immediate, dangerous. Remember this? I asked, no answer. Open it. Slowly he did. Bank statements, wire transfer records, documents, numbers, specific numbers, $42,300, $42,300, Tichaki, July 18th, 5 years earlier. I remember, he said quietly. No. Dad, you don't. I paid some back. 7,000. Silence. You remember why I asked? He stared at paperwork. I was struggling. You were drowning. Business almost collapsed. Yes. I didn't ask. You absolutely asked. Silence. Your mother had chemo Tuesday mornings. No response. You remember that it stopped. No. You came here. Dad, you sat right there. I pointed. Kitchen table. Same table. You said you'd lose everything. I know. You said Ashley didn't know. Silence. You said you'd fix it. Silence. You said family helps family. Brandon closed his eyes. I know. No. My voice stayed calm. Very calm. Experience teaches control. Anger doesn't always need volume. Your mother knew, I said quietly. She said help him. Tears. Small, fast, gone, but there. She said someday he'd remember. Silence. He didn't. Dad, no. I sat down, slowly. You know what your mother told me after we wired $42,300? No answer. She said, don't tell Ethan. Silence. She didn't want him comparing love. Wind outside, kitchen quiet, heavy quiet, the kind that sits down beside you. I never told him, I said, not once. Brandon stared at papers, older somehow, smaller. I was going to pay it back, he said. I know. I meant to. I know. I know. And I did. That was the problem. I knew. Pressure, fear, shame, pride, those things mixed together badly, like gasoline and a lit match. I never forgot, I said quietly. Forgot what? The money. Silence. The promise. His eyes moved up slowly. You know what scares me? I asked. What? Not debt. Silence. Entitlement. Nothing. You stopped asking for help a long time ago. Wind outside, house quiet, my wife's chair empty, my son sitting across from me, 41 years old, still drowning. Only this time something felt different, because for the first time, I wasn't sure Brandon came over looking for help. I was starting to think he came looking for permission. The strange thing about experience is that it changes what scares you. At 35, unexpected bills scared me. At 45, hospitals scared me. At 67, patterns scared me. Because patterns meant history was trying to repeat itself. 3 days after Brandon sat in my kitchen talking about debt, I was sitting at Bluebird Diner on 1st Avenue East watching snow slide slowly down the window. Beside booth 7. Friday, 7:32 in the morning. Coffee black, 2 eggs, turkey sausage. Routine. Routine keeps older men alive. People joke about retirement routines. They shouldn't. When you've buried enough people, routine becomes gratitude. Megan dropped my plate down. You look tired, she said. I've reached the age where that's permanent. You need better sleep. I need younger knees. You need vegetables. I survived the 70s. My body has seen worse. She rolled her eyes. You want pie. It's 7:30 in the morning. So, yes, maybe. Thought so. She walked away. I looked outside. Snow, gray sky, pickup trucks, normal life. But my brain wouldn't settle. $72,000, Brandon, pressure, cash flow problems, expansion debt, and something else, something I couldn't put my finger on. You know that feeling when your brain keeps knocking on a door but doesn't know why? Mortgage fraud work did that to me. Years of training yourself to notice small inconsistencies creates a problem. You stop trusting coincidence. Phone buzzed. Diane. Morning, I answered. You eating garbage, turkey sausage. That's not an answer. It's diner food. Same thing. You call me to insult breakfast. I made soup. Congratulations. You coming over later? Maybe. You need groceries? No. You lying a little bit? Thought so. Diane hung up. No goodbye. 27 years of friendship. Goodbyes become optional. I drove home around 9, snow melting, roads wet. Silver Ford Ranger, making that awful passenger side noise again. Sounded like mechanical disappointment. Pulled into my driveway. Mail sitting in the box. Electric bill. Insurance paperwork. Advertisement. Envelope. White. Plain. No return logo. Interesting. Very interesting. Mortgage work teaches pattern recognition. Normal mail looks normal. Problem. Mail tries to look invisible. I walked inside, set groceries down, opened envelope. Read again. Then sat down. Because sometimes your body knows something before your brain catches up. Mortgage servicing notification. Loan servicing information. Reference number. Property information. My address. Maple Grove Drive. My house. And 4 words. Second mortgage account. No. Absolutely not. I read it again, slowly, carefully. People panic. Experience teaches you not to panic. Panic misses details. I checked names, address, property description, loan reference. My kitchen suddenly felt very quiet. You know that feeling. When your brain starts running faster than reality, no mortgage, no refinance, no equity line, no second lien, nothing. House paid off 11 years, no debt, no reason, no explanation. My eyes moved lower. Loan amount, $148,700. I stared, read again. $148,700. My heartbeat stayed calm. That's another thing experience changes. You stop reacting emotionally first. Emotion comes later. Information comes first. I stood slowly. Walked down hallway, office, gray filing cabinet, top drawer, property records, tax documents, mortgage payoff paperwork, everything exactly where it belonged. I pulled my property folder, opened it, checked county filings. Nothing obvious. No notice, no paperwork, no disclosure, no loan packet, which created a problem. Mortgage documents leave trails, always. People think financial fraud looks complicated. Usually it's paperwork. Paperwork leaves footprints. I sat down, pulled reading glasses lower, looked closer, servicing transfer notification, institution name, not local, interesting, date, recent, too recent, very recent. I grabbed laptop, logged in, county property records, search, address, loading, there. Document history, mortgage satisfaction, original filing, tax assessment, property records. Then my stomach dropped. Recorded lien, recent, very recent. No. I leaned closer. Recording date, 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks? 3 weeks. The same week Brandon sat in my kitchen talking about refinancing. Pay attention to this next part because this matters. 32 years doing fraud investigations teaches you something important. Timing tells stories. Timing never lies. I printed documents, pulled notebooks, started writing, recording number, document references, institution details, title references, slow, methodical, old habits. My phone buzzed. Ethan, you busy? He asked, little bit. Everything okay? Funny. You ever notice how certain people hear things others miss? I'm all right. You sound weird. I sound old. No. Silence. Dad? Yeah. You sure? I'm sure. Lie. Different son. Same lie. We hung up. I looked back at paperwork. Something else. Notary information. Interesting. Very interesting. County. Wrong county. Not impossible. Just strange. Mortgage fraud rule. 1 unusual thing means pay attention. 2 unusual things means investigate. 3 unusual things means somebody's lying. I kept reading. Borrower signature. There. My name. Roland Woods. Signed. Supposedly. I stared. Long time. Very long time. People think forgery means ugly signatures, bad signatures, movie signatures. No. Real fraud copies. Imitates, blends. Good forgery doesn't look fake. Good forgery looks almost right. Almost. And almost matters. I leaned closer. Years disappeared. Retirement disappeared. 67 disappeared. Suddenly I wasn't Roland Woods, retired widower, guy with casserole neighbors and diner habits. No, I was 30 years younger. Conference room lights, fraud files, bad paperwork, tiny mistakes, people believing nobody pays attention. My eyes locked onto one letter, W. Woods. Wrong pressure pattern, too smooth, too practiced. My signature curves downward, always. 30 years, same habit. This one curved slightly upward, tiny, almost invisible, almost. My pulse stayed calm, but inside something cold moved quietly into place. I knew that feeling. Truth approaching, danger approaching. I checked timestamp documentation, notary information, reference trail, then something small, almost stupid, email, contact email attached to processing correspondence, partial, hidden, but enough visible, enough for me, because memory matters, pattern recognition matters. And suddenly a conversation from months ago moved through my head. Kitchen table, coffee untouched. Your money should work for you. My chest felt heavy, not fear, not yet, something worse. Disappointment. I closed laptop slowly. House quiet. Wind outside. Eleanor's old coffee mug sitting beside the sink. Blue ceramic. Small chip near handle. I stared at it, longer than necessary. Please tell me I'm wrong, I said quietly. Nobody answered. Of course nobody answered. But experience did. Experience whispered something I didn't want to hear. And for the first time, I stopped thinking somebody made a mistake. I started wondering if somebody thought I was too old to notice. I didn't call Brandon. Not that day. Not the next day either. People imagine experience makes you fearless. It doesn't. Experience makes you patient. There's a difference. Saturday morning, Cedar Rapids woke up under freezing rain and a sky the color of old newspaper. I stood in my kitchen staring at the mortgage servicing letter again while coffee turned cold beside me. Second mortgage. $148,700. My house, my signature, not my signature. Funny thing about betrayal. The first feeling isn't anger, it's confusion. Your brain keeps trying to build innocent explanations. Clerical mistake, identity theft, bank error, computer issue, anything. Anything except the thing sitting quietly in the corner waiting for you to look directly at it. I grabbed my coat. Dark brown canvas jacket Eleanor bought me in 2014. You wear the same 3 jackets like you're being charged by the hanger, she told me once. I still wore it. Some people leave, small habits don't. I drove downtown, Lynn County Recorder's office. Cold wind hit hard when I stepped out of the truck. I pulled my collar higher, walked inside. Government buildings all smell the same. Paper, dust, air conditioning set by someone who fears human comfort. A younger woman behind the counter smiled politely. Can I help you? Need copies of property filing documents. Address, I gave it. She typed, clicked, typed again. 1 moment. My heartbeat stayed steady. Steady matters. Emotion clouds observation. Observation was what I trusted, not feelings. Never feelings first. Printer noise, paper sliding. She handed documents over. Anything else? No. Have a good day. You too. I walked to one of the public tables near the back, sat down. Open paperwork, slow, methodical, old habits. Document number, recording information, processing trail, mortgage institution, title handling references, then notary acknowledgement. My eyes narrowed. No, that wasn't right. Notary location, Des Moines. Wrong. Technically possible, but wrong. I kept reading. Borrower verification process, electronic submission, timestamp, review notes, tiny details. People underestimate tiny details. Tiny details pay mortgages. Tiny details solve crimes. Tiny details destroy lies. And then I found it. Small, almost embarrassing. The kind of mistake smart people make when they're in a hurry. Processing contact information, partial email, visible enough, not fully hidden, but enough. My chest tightened because I knew it. I knew exactly where I'd seen it. Not because I remembered letters, because pattern recognition remembers shapes. Years. Years looking at fraudulent applications. Years finding lazy shortcuts. Years watching people assume nobody reads page 4. I folded paperwork carefully, very carefully, then pulled my phone, one contact, Frank Delaney, age 72, retired real estate attorney, friend, fishing partner, professional pain in the neck. We met 30 years ago through bank litigation work, stayed friends because both of us enjoyed being suspicious professionally. He answered on second ring. Roland, you busy Kurtawi, retired. Useful retired. Less retired. You home? What's wrong? They need eyes. Pause. Mortgage. I smiled despite myself. Mortgage. Come over. Frank lived 15 minutes away. Brick ranch house, American flag, garage cleaner than hospital operating rooms. Some men organize grief. Frank organized tools. He opened the door wearing jeans and an Iowa Hawkeyes sweatshirt. You look terrible, he said. You always say that. Age keeps proving me right. Nice to see you too. His kitchen smelled like chili. Sit. I sat, spread documents out, didn't explain, just watched. Frank adjusted reading glasses, read, turned pages, read again, silence, good silence, professional silence, 5 minutes, 10. Finally, not good. Attorney, ranks right below. Hearing your mechanic say, well, that's interesting. What? I asked. Who filed this? Working on it. Electronic processing. Yeah. Signature wrong. I know. Verification trail weak. I know. Notary, strange. I know. He leaned back, studied me. You think Brandon, not question, statement. I don't know. Roland, I don't know. That's not true. No, it isn't. Silence. I think Brandon knows something. Frank nodded slowly, different, important. Knows something, he repeated. Yes. Not did it. No. You protecting him already. No. Lie. Small lie. Still lie. Frank knew. Of course he knew. You always did this, he said quietly. Did what? Protected family past reason. I protected people. No. You protected damage. Silence. Dangerous silence. Careful, I said. No. Frank folded papers, slow, deliberate. Roland. What? You remember Peterson immediately. Yes. Mortgage fraud case. 12 years ago. Family transfer scam. Forged refinancing. Son involved. Mother devastated. I remembered. God. I remembered. He kept saying he wasn't stealing. Frank said quietly. I know. He said he was borrowing. I know. He believed it. Silence. Deep silence. Because that's the dangerous part. People don't wake up evil. They wake up desperate, then proud, then afraid, then justified. Justification builds monsters ordinary people can live with. Frank looked down again. Need title company records. I know. Need submission chain. I know. Need communication trail. I know. Need proof. I know. He leaned back. Then stop looking at me like you're hoping I'm wrong. That hit harder than I wanted. Because he wasn't wrong. I was hoping. God, I was hoping. Diane called while I was still there. You alive? She asked, barely. You eat lunch? No. Idiot. Busy? Doing what? Paperwork. Retirement paperwork. Worse. You sound weird. I sound old? No. Everybody kept saying that. No, no, no. Like people could hear pressure through phone lines. Need groceries? Diane asked. No. Soup? No. Pie? Long pause. Maybe pie. Thought so. She hung up. Frank watched me. What? Pie. Don't start. 67 years old and emotional support arrives baked. Be quiet. You love her. Frank. I'm old. So am I. Different old. Stop talking. He smiled. First smile all afternoon. Necessary smile because tension needs oxygen sometimes, otherwise it suffocates people. 3 hours later, we found another problem, not huge, not obvious, worse. Timestamp inconsistencies, submission timing, review sequence, tiny administrative sequencing error. Someone rushed, someone skipped steps, someone assumed nobody would notice. I leaned back, exhausted, angry, sad. Something else too, disappointed, still disappointed. Worst feeling. Always disappointment. You know what bothers me? I said quietly. Frank looked up. What? I taught my boys paperwork matters. Silence. I taught responsibility. Silence. I taught honesty. Frank waited. Good friends wait. I keep thinking maybe I missed something. You did. I looked at him. What? You missed your son drowning. Silence. Long silence. Brutal silence. Because painful things hit hardest when they sound true. Outside freezing rain tapped softly against the window. Gray sky. February cold. Paper spread across table. Evidence growing slowly, quietly, patiently, just like truth always does. And somewhere deep down, a feeling I'd spent weeks fighting finally settled into place. Not certainty, not yet, something worse, recognition. Because if Brandon really was involved, then he wasn't making a financial mistake. He was making the exact kind of mistake people make when they think nobody's paying attention. By early March, Cedar Rapids had entered that strange Midwest season where winter refuses to leave, but spring keeps showing up anyway. Dirty snow piles shrinking, cold rain, patches of grass trying their best. Everyone pretending 43 degrees felt warm. I hadn't confronted Brandon, not yet. Frank agreed. People making mistakes tell you more when they think they're winning, he'd said. He wasn't wrong. Experience taught me something ugly a long time ago. Truth doesn't usually hide. Truth relaxes. Truth gets comfortable. Then it talks. 3 weeks passed. 3 weeks of paperwork, records, phone calls, quiet observation. 3 weeks pretending life was normal. I still went to Bluebird Diner, still bought groceries Wednesdays, still listened to Diane complain that I bought old man cereal. You bought Raisin Bran again, she asked one afternoon standing in my kitchen. It's cereal. It's sadness in a box. People like Raisin Bran. People also enjoy tax refunds. Doesn't make them exciting. I almost smiled. Almost. She noticed. Of course she noticed. You gonna tell me what's wrong? She asked. Nothing. Roland? Nothing. You start organizing paperwork this much when you're stressed. I'm retired. You color code folders. Organization isn't a crime. No, she said quietly, but hiding things usually is. That hit harder than she realized, or maybe exactly as hard as she intended. Diane knew me too well. 40 years of friendship between her and Eleanor, 27 years of friendship with me. She knew silence patterns, knew grief patterns, apparently knew investigation patterns too. I'm handling it, I said. Dangerous sentence. I'm fine. Dangerous lie. You're exhausting. I'm correct. Unfortunately, she usually was. Friday afternoon, 4:11 p.m. Phone buzzed. Brandon. I stared at it. 3 rings, 4, 5, answered. Hey. Hey, Dad. Busy noise in background, power tools, voices, construction sounds. Normal. Almost. You doing okay? He asked. Interesting. Very interesting. Fine. Good. Silence. Business all right? I asked, getting there. Lie. Better lie this time. Still lie. You need anything? He asked. My hand tightened slightly around the phone, not because of what he said, because of how. Careful. Measured. Need anything? Sounds different depending on who's asking. No. You sure? Yeah. Long pause. Then, you still got all your paperwork organized. My heartbeat slowed. Actually slowed. Funny how training does that. Pressure sharpens old instincts. What paperwork? I asked. Oh, you know. No. House stuff. There it was. Tiny, almost invisible, but there. House stuff, property papers. Why? No reason. People always say that. No reason. Translation reason. I'm getting older, I said. Exactly. Interesting word, exactly. I should probably organize things better, I said. Yeah, I lose track sometimes. Silence. Tiny silence. Dangerous silence. Yeah, Brandon said quietly. I should help you sometime. There it was. Not greed, not pressure, opportunity. His voice sounded relaxed, confident. And suddenly something awful settled quietly inside my chest. He thought he'd gotten away with it. God, he thought he'd already won. We talked another 2 minutes. Weather, nothing. Fake normal, hung up. I sat very still. Kitchen quiet. Clock ticking. March rain hitting windows. And for the first time, anger showed up. Not explosive anger, worse. Controlled anger. Disappointed anger. Father anger. The dangerous kind. I called Frank. He's comfortable. I said, good. No. Yes. He thinks I'm slipping. Good. No. Roland. He thinks I'm old. Frank went quiet. Then no. What? He thinks you're predictable. Silence. He thinks you're harmless. Worse. That was worse. Sunday arrived. Brandon texted. Dinner simple. Short. Normal. Too normal. 6 p.m. My house. Ashley coming too. Interesting. Very interesting. I cleaned, vacuumed, which Diane later accused me of doing only during emotional emergencies. She wasn't completely wrong. 5:52. Black F-150 pulled in. Ashley climbed out first. Blue sweater, dark jeans, holding pie, apple, store-bought. Ashley never baked. Brandon followed. Smiling, relaxed, too relaxed. Hey, Dad, Ashley said. Hey, kid. Pie? I see that. Don't judge me. I am. Roland? You know Diane Parker would report this to the neighborhood. Ashley laughed. Real laugh. Good. Important. Ashley wasn't Eleanor, but Eleanor liked Ashley. That mattered. Brandon walked in carrying nothing. Typical. Dad? Brandon? You look good. I moisturize. No, you don't. No. Normal, comfortable, almost dangerous how normal. Dinner, pot roast, mashed potatoes, green beans. Ashley talking about hospital staffing problems. Brandon talking business. Mostly avoiding specifics. I noticed. Of course I noticed. You still thinking about downsizing? Brandon asked casually. Fork stopped. Tiny movement. Small. Almost invisible, but there. No. Big house. Houseworks. Maintenance, though. I'm alive. Dad. What? Eventually? Interesting. Eventually. Ashley shifted slightly. Barely. Pay attention to this next part. Married people communicate silently. People married long enough notice. Ashley knew something. Not everything. Something. You ever think about senior communities? Brandon asked. There, finally. Senior communities. Yeah, no. Lots of people your age. I'm 67. Exactly. 67 isn't 93. I didn't say to you implied. Ashley quietly drank water, eyes down. Interesting. Very interesting. Marion has nice places, Brandon continued. Maintenance free. Community activities. Safer. Brandon. What? I own a snowblower. Dad? I'm not moving. Silence. Tiny. Sharp. Ashley finally spoke. We're just worried. There. Real. That felt real. I appreciate that, I said quietly. We mean that, Ashley said. I know. And I believed her. Ashley worried. Brandon calculated. Not evil. Not yet. Just pressure. Fear. Pride. greed growing quietly underneath stress, like mold inside walls. Hard to see, expensive once you find it. Dinner moved on, normal, mostly, then mistake, small mistake, the kind greedy people make when they stop being patient. June 14th should work, Brandon said. Silence. Ashley looked up instantly, fast, too fast. What? I asked. Nothing. Tiny pause, dangerous pause. Nothing. No, just business. What happens June 14th? Nothing. Lie. Bad lie. Ashley spoke too fast. Brandon meant contractor scheduling. Interesting. Very interesting. Contractor scheduling. At dinner. Discussing senior housing. No. My chest stayed calm. Brain working, patterns, timing. June 14th. Date mattered. Didn't know why yet, but it mattered. I smiled, small, harmless. Old man smile. The kind people underestimate. Must be important, I said. No. Too fast. Far too fast. We finished dinner. Pie, coffee, conversation. Normal. Fake normal. By 8:22 they left. I stood at the kitchen window, watching taillights disappear. Rain falling softly. Dark sky. Quiet neighborhood. And suddenly I knew something. Not facts, not evidence. Something deeper. Instinct. 32 years. Patterns, pressure, paperwork, people. June 14th wasn't a random date. It belonged to something. Something Brandon thought I didn't know. Something he believed was already decided. And standing there watching rain slide slowly down the glass, I realized something else. People don't accidentally plan around dates, especially dates involving houses. The thing people don't tell you about betrayal is this: sometimes the truth doesn't arrive like a storm. Sometimes it walks quietly into your kitchen carrying a toolbox. 3 days after dinner with Brandon and Ashley, Ethan came over to fix my sink. My kitchen faucet had been dripping for 2 months. Not leaking, not broken, dripping. Just enough to annoy me. Not enough to make me do something about it. That's retirement logic. Dad, Ethan said, walking in Thursday afternoon around 4 toolbox in one hand, coffee in the other. If you ignore enough household problems, eventually this place becomes archaeology. I was monitoring it. You were avoiding it. That's different. No, you're disrespectful. You raised me. Fair point. Late March sunlight came through the kitchen windows. Iowa finally deciding winter had overstayed. 49 degrees. People outside wearing shorts like we'd entered the tropics. Midwest people are emotionally complicated. Ethan knelt under the sink, started pulling things apart. I made coffee, normal afternoon, normal conversation, basketball, school budget cuts, one of his students trying to cite Wikipedia as a primary historical source. The future scares me, Ethan said. Kids have always been weird. No. Dad, this one cited a superhero movie. Creative. No. You hungry? Always. I've got turkey sandwiches. You're 90% turkey sandwiches. Efficient meal. Depressing meal. You and Diane should start a support group. She already called me about your cereal choices. Traitor. We ate late lunch around 4:45. Kitchen quiet, comfortable, easy. Ethan always made quiet feel peaceful. Brandon made quiet feel like waiting. Difference mattered. You sleeping okay? Ethan asked. There it was. Again. Everybody asking. I'm sleeping. That's not what I asked. I'm fine. No. You all take classes on this. Dad. What? You seem distracted lately. I'm old. Stop doing that. Doing what? Using age like camouflage. Interesting. Very interesting. Teacher instincts, observation, good instincts. Eleanor would have smiled hearing that. You sound like your mother, I said. I know. You happy? Question landed softly, unexpectedly softly. Yeah, he said, mostly. Mostly funny, my lie, now his. Life works like that. You lonely? I asked sometimes. Honest? Good. I thought I'd be married by now. There it was. Truth, real truth, not financial truth. Worse, human truth. I know, I said quietly. Everybody else has kids. Dad. No, I know. Silence. Soft silence. Good silence. I don't think I'm built like Brandon, Ethan said. Interesting, very interesting. What does that mean? He pushes. Yes? He always pushes. Yes. I don't. No. I think people mistake quiet for weakness. My chest tightened slightly. Not because of Ethan, because pattern. People mistaking quiet for weakness. Dangerous mistake, very dangerous, especially in families. I think people mistake lots of things, I said quietly. We cleaned dishes, coffee cups, turkey sandwich plates, normal. Then life changed. Completely. Accidentally. The way life usually does. Dad? Ethan called from hallway. Yeah. Need something from the office closet. No. Got paper towels back here. Top shelf. Gray filing cabinet sat beside the closet. Same cabinet. The cabinet. The one from the beginning. 5:17 p.m. I remember exactly. Some moments brand themselves into memory permanently. No paper towels, Ethan said. Try lower shelf. Drawer open, metal sound, file movement. Then silence. Not normal silence, different silence. Dangerous silence. Dad. 2 seconds, 3, 4. Yeah. Longer silence. My stomach dropped. You know before you know. Parents understand that. Dad. Different voice now. Quieter. I walked down hallway slowly. Very slowly. Ethan stood near filing cabinet. Gray folder in his hand. Motionless. Folder label visible. Second mortgage. Do not ignore. God. Not like this. Not him. Not now. Dad, he said quietly. No accusation. Worse. Concern, fear, confusion. Dad. I didn't answer. Couldn't. Not immediately. What is this? My chest felt heavy. Heavy in a way anger never feels. Dad. Sit down. Roland, sit. Kitchen. Same table. Same place Brandon sat. Same place Eleanor taught fractions. Same place life kept breaking open. Folder sat between us. Silence. Long. Painful. Necessary. Dad, Ethan said quietly, why is there a second mortgage on your house? There it was. The sentence. The one from the beginning. Funny thing about preparing yourself for truth. You never prepare for who gets hurt standing beside it. I stared down at my coffee. Cold now. Didn't matter. Nothing mattered. Not pretending anymore. Not protecting anymore. Not silence. Not promises made 5 years earlier beside hospital beds. Gone. Finished. I need you to understand something, I said quietly. Ethan didn't move. Your mother asked me never to tell you. What? 5 years ago. Silence. Brandon almost lost everything. Confusion, then realization, then disbelief. No. Yes. No. Yes. I opened the drawer. Blue folder. Old folder. $42,300. Wire records, bank statements, debt, history, promises. I helped him. I said, when? While your mother was sick. Silence. Deep silence. Dangerous silence. He said he'd fix it. Dad, he said he'd pay it back. Ethan stared. Breathing changed. Face changed. World changing quietly behind his eyes. You never told me. No. Why? Your mother. Silence. She didn't want love measured. Tears. Not dramatic, not movie tears. Real ones, harder. He's struggling again. I said quietly. How bad? 72,000. Ethan leaned back, hands covering mouth. No. Yes. And this? His hand touched mortgage papers, very gently. What happened? So I told him everything, mortgage, forgery, documents, county records, the signature, the debt, the suspicion, June 14th, all of it. No interruptions, no hiding, no protecting. Finished. Done. 32 years finding lies. 5 years carrying silence. Finished. Ethan sat still, very still. People think anger gets loud. Sometimes anger gets quiet. Quiet scares me more. He used your house, Ethan said. I don't know everything yet. He used your house. He may... No. His voice cracked. He used your house. House, not asset. Not equity. House. Memory. Mom. Childhood. Christmas mornings. Hard years. Good years. Home. My son stood suddenly, walked toward kitchen window, hands shaking, small, controlled shaking. I knew he was struggling. Ethan whispered, I didn't know this. I know. You helped him. I know. Mom helped him. I know. And I know. Silence. Long silence. Then he turned, eyes red, voice steady, dangerously steady. When? What? June 14th. My chest tightened. What? He said June 14th. Yes. Ethan nodded once. Slow, controlled, teacher calm, Woods family calm, dangerous calm. Good, he said quietly. Good what? Let him come. Ethan, no. Ethan, let him come. He looked directly at me. Same eyes Eleanor had. Same calm, same certainty. And for the first time I realized something important. Brandon wasn't the only son I'd underestimated. June 14th landed on a Friday. Sunny. 72 degrees. Blue sky stretched over Cedar Rapids like the universe had decided to act innocent. Funny how betrayal days never look like betrayal days. You expect thunderstorms, dark clouds, movie weather. Life doesn't work that way. Some of the worst days arrive wearing perfect sunlight. I woke up at 5:16 in the morning. Didn't need an alarm. Didn't sleep enough to need one. Coffee, black, same mug. Not Eleanor's? Couldn't use Eleanor's that morning. Felt wrong. Kitchen quiet, house quiet, Maple Grove Drive still asleep. I stood by the window, watching morning light slowly move across the front yard. The maple tree Eleanor planted 23 years ago had finally grown tall enough to shade half the driveway. She would have liked that. You nervous? Voice behind me. Ethan, guest room. He'd stayed over, hadn't asked, just did it. No. Lie. Yeah, he said. Little. Good. You sleep? No. Me neither. We drank coffee quietly. Father, son, silence. Good silence. At 6:28 headlights, Diane. Of course. She walked in carrying breakfast sandwiches. You boys eating or pretending emotions count as nutrition? Diane? No. You don't need? I brought hash browns. Okay. Exactly. She set food down, looked at me. Long look, friend look, 40 years of history. Look. You okay? She asked quietly. No. Good. What? Means you're still normal. Ethan almost smiled. Almost. 7:10. Frank arrived. Dark green Buick, pressed shirt, folder underarm. Attorney mode. Retirement hadn't removed it, just slowed it down. You look terrible, Frank said. You say that every time. Consistency matters. You bring everything. Paperwork, submission chains, property records, notary inconsistencies, electronic processing, documentation, timeline analysis, communication references. Enough mattered. 7:45. Deputy civil officer parked quietly down the street, not because we expected violence. Procedure, Frank insisted. People panic unpredictably when truth gets expensive. Attorney wisdom. Depressing wisdom. 8:12, nothing. 8:20, nothing. 8:31 headlights. Black Ford F-15, oh. My chest tightened. Not fear, recognition. Endings have weight. You feel them arrive. Brandon stepped out first. Ashley climbed out passenger side. Then another vehicle. White SUV. Professional logo. Real estate services. Interesting. Very interesting. Then third vehicle, U-Haul, 20-foot truck. My heartbeat slowed. Actually slowed. Training, experience, pattern recognition. People don't rent moving trucks accidentally. Beside me, Ethan went completely still, dangerously still. Stay calm, I said quietly. I am. No. No, he wasn't. Front door. Knock. 3 knocks. Normal knocks. Nothing normal. I opened. Morning, Dad, Brandon said. Smile, relaxed, comfortable. God, comfortable. Ashley looked nervous, very nervous, interesting. Morning, I said. You ready? Brandon asked. Ready? Interesting word. For tiny pause, small, dangerous. You know. No? Ashley looked at him fast, sharp. Brandon kept smiling. We talked about this. No, I said quietly. We didn't. Silence. Dad, no. Dad, no. Small shift. Energy changing. Pressure building. Roland, Ashley said quietly. No, she knew. Not everything. Enough. Brandon, I said calmly. What? What's the U-Haul for? Silence. Dangerous silence. Contractor equipment. Lie. Terrible lie. On Maple Grove Drive. No answer. You know what scares me? I asked quietly. Dad, no. What? Bad lies. Frank stepped forward quietly, not dramatic, worse, professional. Morning, Brandon, Frank said. Everything changed immediately. Comfort gone. Smile gone. Breathing changed. Tiny, but changed. Frank, Brandon said slowly, good to see you? No, it isn't. Silence. Ashley turned toward Brandon. What is this? Nothing. Lie, fast lie, bad sign. Deputy officer slowly approached sidewalk, visible, not aggressive. Procedure. Brandon noticed. Everything changed again. What the hell is this? Brandon asked. Good. Anger. Anger speeds mistakes. Attorney wisdom. Roland, Frank said quietly. I nodded. Folder. Gray folder. Mortgage records. Property records. Submission chain. Timeline. Paperwork. Truth. Funny thing about financial lies. Eventually they become paperwork. Brandon, I said quietly. What? Why? Silence. What? Why? I don't know what you're talking about. Lie. Expected, normal, human. I do, I said. Mortgage paperwork, signature copy, processing records, submission information, timeline, date, June 14th, everything. Ashley grabbed papers, reading, faster, then slower. Face changing. Color leaving. No, she whispered. Brandon shifted. Pressure. Real pressure. No, Ashley said louder. Brandon. Ash. No. Dad. Stop calling him Dad right now. Silence. Deep silence. Bad silence. What did you do? Nothing. Lie. Weak lie. Weak lies happen when pressure arrives too fast. You forged paperwork, Ashley whispered. No. Then explain this. I didn't explain. Breathing. Fast now. Good. Pressure creates truth. 32 years taught me that. You said refinancing? I said quietly. Silence. You said equity. Silence. You said planning. Silence. You said I needed long-term thinking. Dad, no. You don't understand. There it was, finally. Truth language, not denial, justification, dangerous transition. You don't understand, Brandon said louder. I was fixing it. Fixing. Interesting word. I was going to put everything back. There. Ashley stared. Devastated. Frank closed eyes briefly. He knew. I knew. Ethan completely silent. Scariest person there. I wasn't stealing, Brandon said. God, there it was. Not stealing, borrowing. Peterson. 12 years ago. Exactly same language. Frank looked at me once. Just once. No words. Didn't need them. I was drowning, Brandon said, voice cracking. I needed time. You used my house, I said quietly. I was fixing it. You forged my signature. I was fixing it. You planned moving trucks. Silence. U-Haul. Beautiful, beautiful mistake. Greed gets impatient. Impatience gets sloppy. Sloppy leaves evidence. Ashley stepped backward slowly, like distance could change reality. June 14th, Ethan said quietly. Everyone turned. First words he'd spoken. Quiet, controlled, dangerous. You already scheduled his life. Ethan said, no. You picked a date. No. You picked our father's date. That's not. You picked a date? Silence. Complete silence. Bird sounds outside. Wind. Neighborhood normal. Universe cruel enough to stay normal. Brandon looked at me, really looked. For first time, saw me, not old, not harmless, not slow. Saw me, actually saw me. I was going to fix it, he whispered. Maybe he believed that. Worst part, maybe he did. Deputy officer stepped forward. Procedure, paperwork, questions, process. Reality arriving quietly, like truth always does. Brandon stood motionless. Ashley crying quietly. U-Haul parked useless beside driveway. Beautiful Iowa morning, beautiful terrible morning. And standing there watching consequences settle slowly over my front yard, I realized something. People think revenge feels loud, victory, celebration, triumph. No, real life doesn't work like that. Real life feels quiet. Mostly it feels sad. People think consequences happen all at once. They don't. Consequences arrive slowly, paper first, phone calls second, silence last. Silence stays longest. 3 weeks after June 14th, my house on Maple Grove Drive felt strangely bigger. Not quieter, not emptier. Bigger. Like something had been pulled out of the walls. Something invisible. Trust maybe. Trust takes decades to build. One decision can put a crack through it. One signature, one lie. One moment somebody convinces themselves they'll fix it later. Frank handled most of the legal process. Title correction, fraud reporting, document disputes, institutional review, procedures, paperwork. God, so much paperwork. You know what's ironic? Frank said one Tuesday afternoon sitting in my kitchen. What? You spent 32 years investigating mortgage fraud. Yeah? Then retirement handed you homework. Terrible hobby. Could be worse. How? You could collect model trains. Frank, I'm serious. I'm not discussing trains. Healthy men your age need hobbies. I have hobbies. Paperwork isn't a hobby. It is now. He pointed at me. You need normal life back. Normal. Interesting word. I wasn't sure normal existed anymore. The mortgage institution moved fast once documentation landed where it needed to. Submission discrepancies, verification failures, signature concerns, processing irregularities. The lien process stopped. Review escalated. Things moved. Slowly, professionally. Exactly the way systems work when enough facts show up. Brandon hired an attorney. Expected, necessary, reality. Ashley moved out temporarily, stayed with her mother near Omaha. Not because she hated Brandon, because betrayal confuses people, especially when they didn't know they were standing next to it. I didn't blame her, not once. Ethan came by more, not intentionally, at least not officially. He'd show up Tuesday evenings, Saturday mornings, random afternoons. Need anything? No. Okay. Then he'd stay 3 hours. Funny how sons say love sideways. One Wednesday afternoon, he helped me replace a porch light. Didn't need replacing, worked fine. We replaced it anyway. You know this one still worked, I said. I know. We're wasting money. It was $18. $18 becomes habits. Dad, what? You know why I'm here? Silence. Summer air moving softly through Maple Grove. June turning toward July. Trees green. Neighborhood ordinary. Life refusing to stop. I know, I said quietly. Neither of us said anything after that. Didn't need to. Some healing happens through conversation. Some healing happens changing light bulbs that didn't need changing. Diane came over more too, twice as often, maybe 3 times. You're hovering, I told her one afternoon. No. You're absolutely hovering. No. You brought soup. People eat soup. You folded laundry. It offended me. You reorganized cabinets. You had syrup beside vinegar. Temporary placement. Criminal placement. Normal, small normal, necessary, normal. One evening she stood beside me on the back porch, sun going down. Orange sky. Summer heat finally softening. You mad at him? She asked quietly. Who? Don't do that. Long silence. Wind moving through trees. I'm disappointed, I said, worse. Yeah? You still love him? Yeah. Worse. She wasn't wrong. Love makes pain complicated. Strangers think betrayal kills love, not family. Family betrayal keeps love alive. That's what hurts, Brandon texted once. 2 weeks after everything, simple message, 3 words. I was drowning. I stared at it a long time, longer than necessary. Not because I didn't understand, because I did. That's what made it hard. I understood too much. Pressure, fear, pride, shame, responsibility, failure. Men break quietly sometimes, especially men taught not to, but understanding someone doesn't remove consequences. Important lesson. Maybe the most important lesson. I didn't answer immediately. Waited 2 days, then 3 sentences. Being afraid explains things. It doesn't excuse things. We'll talk when you're ready to tell the whole truth. No response. Not for a while. Ashley called Ethan, not me. Probably easier, safer, human. Ethan told me later. She didn't know, he said quietly. I know. She really didn't. I know. She feels stupid. No. What? Trusting people isn't stupid. Silence, good silence. Sometimes people hide parts of themselves, I said, even from people they love, especially. I didn't say especially, didn't need to. Late July, Bluebird Diner, Friday, Booth 7, coffee, routine. Megan set food down. Rough summer, she asked. Interesting, people notice. I've had worse. Liar? Little bit. Need pie? Maybe. Thought so. Funny thing. People who love you usually know when pie becomes emotional support. I drove home slowly, windows down, heat finally breaking, silver Ford Ranger making that awful passenger side noise again. Normal. Comforting normal. Pulled into driveway. Sat there longer than necessary. House looked same. Maple tree, front porch, green shutters. Same house, not same life. Phone buzzed. Brandon, first call. Weeks. Long pause. Answered. Hello? Silence, breathing. Then, hey, Dad. Older voice. Not age, weight, consequences, age people. Hey. Long silence. I paid $7,000 to the attorney account, he said quietly. I know. Sold equipment. Okay? Truck 2. Black F-150. Gone. Interesting. Painful. Necessary. I'm trying, he said. Not apology, not excuse. Truth. Different. Small, but different. I know, I said quietly. Long silence. Dad. Yeah. I'm sorry. There it was, not enough, but real. Real matters. I know, I said quietly. You don't have to forgive me. No, I didn't. And that mattered. People think forgiveness heals everything. It doesn't. Trust heals slowly. Trust heals honestly. Trust heals through repetition, consistency, time. Brandon still had debt, still had damage, still had consequences. Ashley still wasn't home permanently. Ethan still carried anger. I still carried disappointment. Nothing fixed, not completely. Real life rarely gives complete endings. One August evening, almost 2 months later, I sat alone on my front porch. Eleanor's porch swing moving slowly, sunset, summer air, neighborhood quiet. I thought about houses. Funny thing, people think houses hold people. Truth. People hold houses, memories, arguments, Christmas mornings, hospital bills, hard years, good years, forgiveness, regret, love. My house wasn't worth $148,700, not really. It was worth 40 years, and 40 years should never belong to someone willing to risk them because they got tired of waiting. September arrived quietly, which felt appropriate. Not every ending needs thunder. Some endings arrive wearing cold mornings and leaves turning gold. Cedar Rapids looked different in early fall. Maple trees along Maple Grove Drive shifted slowly from green to orange. Kids waited for school buses wearing hoodies. People started talking about football. Hy-Vee put pumpkin-flavored everything near the entrance like it was legally required. Life moved. It always does. Funny thing about surviving difficult years, you expect some dramatic moment where everything suddenly feels okay. Movie ending, music playing, perfect closure. Real life doesn't work that way. Healing looks boring. Healing looks ordinary. Healing looks like Tuesday mornings when you realize you didn't think about the hard thing for 3 whole hours, then 4, then 7. By September, Brandon and Ashley were trying. Not fixed, trying. Difference matters. Ashley moved back home, slowly, carefully, not because everything healed, because people heal imperfectly. One room at a time, one conversation at a time, one hard truth at a time. Brandon kept paying. Equipment sold, truck gone, lifestyle smaller, reality bigger, actions matter, consistency matters. I still didn't trust him fully. That sounds cruel. Maybe it is. But trust isn't a switch. Trust grows back like damaged muscle. Slow, painful, repetitive, some days stronger, some days not. One Saturday afternoon in October, Ethan came over wearing a faded Iowa State hoodie and carrying paint supplies. "What are we doing?" I asked. "Front porch." "Looks fine." "No, it absolutely looks fine. It looks tired. I'm 67. Not you." Disrespectful. The porch. Marginally less disrespectful. "You said Mom liked blue." My chest tightened. Small, quiet, dangerous. "Yeah," I said softly. "She did." So we painted. Front porch railing, trim, swing frame, not bright blue. Eleanor would have hated bright blue, soft blue, quiet blue, the kind she liked. Halfway through, Diane showed up carrying pie. Again. "Do you legally live here now?" I asked. "Apple pie?" That wasn't my question. "I brought vanilla ice cream too." "You're avoiding accountability." "I'm bringing dessert." Ethan laughed. Real laugh, good laugh, warm laugh. Those matter. More than people realize. Diane looked toward the porch swing, soft blue paint drying slowly. "Eleanor would like that," she said quietly. "Yeah." "Miss her?" "No." She stared. "You still lying about that little bit?" "Thought so." Silence. Good silence. October sunlight, cool air, paint smell, maple leaves moving softly across front yard. Life. Ordinary life. The kind people forget to appreciate until they almost lose it. A week later, phone rang. "Brandon?" Thursday evening, 7:14 p.m. I answered. "Hey? Hey, Dad?" Voice steadier now, not fixed, stronger. "You busy?" "No." Long silence. Then, "Can I come by?" Interesting, very interesting, different question. Before he came because he wanted something. This time he asked. "Okay," I said. Black F-150 gone. Old, used Chevy Silverado now. 5 years older. 100,000 more miles. Reality vehicle. He walked in carrying coffee. Normal coffee. Not $6 coffee. Progress. "You eating enough?" he asked. Interesting, very interesting. "I'm alive." Dad, what? I'm serious. I eat, you lose weight, I'm old. Stop doing that. Funny. My sons hated that joke. Good. Means they still cared. Kitchen table, same kitchen, same chairs, different people. He sat quietly, hands together, nervous. I talked to Ashley, he said. Okay. Therapist too. Interesting, very interesting. Okay. Long silence, dangerous silence, necessary silence. I kept telling myself I wasn't stealing. There it was. Truth. Finally. I know. No. He looked down. I need you to understand something. Funny. My words. Months earlier. Now his. I told myself I was borrowing. Silence. I told myself I'd fix it before anybody got hurt. Silence. I told myself family would understand. Silence. I kept moving the line. My chest felt heavy because that's how people get lost. Not giant decisions, tiny ones, tiny compromises, tiny lies, tiny justifications. I thought being desperate made it different. Brandon said quietly, no. I know. No. Silence. Being desperate explains things, I said quietly. It doesn't excuse things. I know. Long silence. Mom would have been disappointed. Truth, hard truth, necessary truth. He nodded slowly, eyes wet. Not dramatic. Real. Yeah, he whispered, she would have. Silence. Then I miss her. God, there it was. Not money, not debt, not fraud. Grief, old grief, buried grief, dangerous grief, because pain doesn't disappear. It waits. Sometimes people make terrible decisions trying to outrun things that hurt. I know, I said quietly. No. He shook his head. No, you don't. I do. No. Voice cracking. Real. I miss her all the time. Silence. I know. Long silence. Kitchen clock. Traffic outside. October wind. 40 years inside walls, listening quietly. Then something happened. Small, simple. More important than paperwork, more important than mortgages, more important than winning. My son cried. Not dramatic, not movie crying, real, quiet, hard, human. I didn't say much, didn't need to. Some pain doesn't need solutions, just witnesses. He left around 9, front porch, cool night. Chevy Silverado starting slowly. Older truck. Different man, not fixed. Trying. Difference. Matters. 3 weeks later, Thanksgiving. Ethan came. Diane came. Frank came. Brandon and Ashley came. Not perfect. Awkward. Some pauses too long, some conversations careful, but real. Ashley brought homemade pie. Terrible crust. Beautiful effort. Diane complained politely. Frank ate 3 slices. Growth. Family isn't fixed because one person apologizes. Family heals because people keep showing up after hard things happen. Pay attention to this next part, because this matters. If you're listening to my story and you've ever loved somebody who disappointed you, I need you to understand something. Protecting yourself isn't cruelty. Boundaries aren't betrayal. Love without limits sometimes becomes permission, and permission can quietly destroy people. I thought protecting Brandon meant carrying things silently. Debt, shame, mistakes. I was wrong. Love doesn't remove consequences. Love survives them. Sometimes, not always, but sometimes, my house still sits on Maple Grove Drive. Green shutters, soft blue porch swing, cracking driveway still not fixed, silver Ford Ranger still making terrible noises, life still ordinary. Good. Ordinary is underrated. That second mortgage almost took my house. It almost took my trust. It almost took my family. But here's what I learned. People can survive hard truths. Families can survive consequences. What destroys people is pretending consequences don't exist. And every Friday morning, I still sit at Bluebird Diner, Booth 7, coffee black, turkey sausage, routine, gratitude, life. Eleanor's blue coffee mug still sits in my cabinet. Tiny chip near the handle. Never threw it away. Never will. Some things deserve protecting. Some things deserve fighting for. And some lessons cost $148,700 to learn. So, listen. If you're listening to this and you've spent years sacrificing quietly for people you love, hear me clearly. Kindness matters, but boundaries matter too. Helping someone isn't wrong. Loving family isn't weakness. But carrying every burden for someone else can slowly teach them that responsibility belongs to you instead of them. People don't become entitled overnight. Sometimes love without limits helps build it. And if someone you love disappoints you, remember this too. Disappointment and love can exist in the same room. Forgiveness doesn't erase consequences. Trust doesn't return instantly. Healing takes time, honesty, and repeated choices. Protect your kindness, protect your peace, and don't mistake silence for strength if silence is slowly breaking you. If this story meant something to you, join our community by hitting that like button and subscribing for more real, raw, and family-centered stories. Drop a comment below and tell us, have you ever been in a situation like this? We read every single one. And as always, thank you for being a part of this.